Welcome back to Hare Krishna. Sivanandalahari, slogan number 6. Katova mrit pindo apyanurapi cha dhoomo agnirachalaha patova tandurva pariharadi kim kora shamanam dhrita कण्ठक्षोभं वहसि तरसा तर्कवचसा पदाम्बोजं शम्भोर्भज परमसौख्यं व्रज सुधीः. Meaning, O man who dreams yourself intelligent, will the talk of pot, lump of clay, atoms, smoke, fire, mountain, cloth, thread, within bracket, and the rest of the logician's favorite examples and categories ever repel the terrible god of death? In vain is all your straining of the throat in heated controversies. Worship the Lord instead and attain quickly to supreme bliss. Full meaning: by praying and surrendering completely all his dharmas and faculties at the lotus feet of Shambhu, the seeker can prevent the terrible dissolver Kala or Yama from consuming him. Yama is the controller of the objects of the world, so he destroys everything once they have finished their prarabdha of that birth. Whatever that is born has to definitely end, except the one infinite Lord Parameshwara, who is permanent. So whoever reaches his lotus feet escapes from this cycle of birth and death. To reach it, one has to constantly and continuously meditate upon him. All his thoughts, words, and deeds must be only those that will help him in this endeavor. The studies one pursues in this world and the logical arguments one gives should all lead one to this only goal. However much people might argue according to different types of philosophies, like those citing mud pot coming out of mud and returning to mud, or microcosm and macrocosm principle or smoke, and fire principle or the sparks of fire coming from fire principle and going back into it, or tad tvamasi or cotton and cloth principle. None of these dry arguments are going to help one to get away from that terrible giant called time, who can never be satisfied. So it is of no use to shout and argue and cry hoarse one's throat. Let all one's philosophies and arguments be only the means to reach his lotus feet. Let them help him to gain the ideal behind the idol. Let him not allow these unnecessary arguments become the vocation of his life. Whatever little time he has in this life must be spent on meditating and serving the lotus feet of Shiva, and thus give the supreme bliss where Yama will never dare to come. The frog, swallowed by the snake, without knowing its dangerous position, tries to catch the insect flying in front of it. Similarly, these men of logic and philosophy, without understanding that in every second of their life they are reaching nearer and nearer the great python, Yama, which remains with an open mouth, enticing people with his unblinking stare, try to argue and assert their own logic and philosophy. They get completely deluded by this world and try to exhibit their small intelligence, which itself is his glory. Capital H. The seeker who is keen to be liberated must come away from this march towards Kala and turn towards the Lord. Go on running to Him, praying to Him to save him. Next slogan number 7. मनस्ते पदाब्जे निवसतु वचः स्तोत्र फणितौ करौ चाभ्यर्चायां श्रुतिरपि कथाकर्णनविधौ तव ध्याने बुद्धिर्नयनयुगलं मूर्तिविभवे परग्रन्थान् कैर्वा परमशिव जाने परमतः. Meaning, O Lord, thou supreme doer of good to all the worlds, may my mind be occupied with thy lotus feet, my speech with thy praise, my hands with thy worship, my ears with sacred accounts about thee, my intellect with thy meditation, and my eyes with the glory of thy form. Then by which organ would I study books unconnected with thee? In this stanza, the compassionate teacher Shankara teaches man as to how he should use his faculties while living in this world so that he will not be wasting his time on unnecessary arguments and philosophies. Mind ceases to exist if there are no thoughts. It can only roam about in the forest of thoughts, and no man can live in this world without doing any action. These actions are done by the Dashendriyas and mind. So, it is better if the seeker trains these organs to work only for Lord Shiva and not anything else. Let his mind roam about in the feet of the Lord. Let it be fixed in his feet, whatever action he does in the world. Then his actions also go to the Lord only. Whatever the mind thinks comes out as speech. So, let him train his speech only to utter Shivanama and speak about his glories in the world. The seeker should use his hands to do Archana, Puja to the Lord, Archana and Puja. So, whatever work he does in this world, let them be only for the sake of Lord Shambhu. He should train his ears to listen to his own speech while he chants the mantras. Let his ears listen only to the mantras chanted by him and bhajans by others. This way, by listening to whatever one speaks, one can correct one's mistakes that are uttered by him. The memory of a person increases in proportion to what he hears. So, constant listening to the Lord's glory fills his memory also with his glory. Then his intellect will be able to meditate upon the Lord and his vibhudis very easily. Let his eyes drink the beauty of the Lord's form. Every man has two eyes with which he discriminates between good and bad things in this world and thus increases his vasanas. Let him train these eyes which see only the dualities to perceive the one God who is present in these objects as the thread which passes through these multicolored multiplicities of this world. If he trains his faculties like this constantly, where is the need or even time for him to leave this blissful existence and go into this Maya-ridden world to suffer the cycle of samsara? So, let the man offer all his desires, thoughts and actions. in all his three states to the Lord of his heart. Thank you. Shambho.